Oh, people, look at these temperatures here. We are going to be getting colder as the week goes on into next week here. This, though, is no good. And it's super, super annoying because during the day, today, it's going to get close to 80, and then the daytime temps aren't too bad. However, our nighttime temps, not good at all. So you can see I've kind of got a little bit of everything happening here. And I was starting to prepare because, as you guys may remember, I'm supposed to have a procedure on my heart, but they had to reschedule it. Super frustrating. There was an emergency in the doctor's family, so he wasn't able to do it on the day it was planned. So now it's scheduled for the 15th of January. So what I had been doing was, getting everything put together here before I'm on bed rest. I'm not supposed to lift anything heavy for about a week. So it's super frustrating because now we've got animals that I've been even taken out of the front pond because I knew that the pumps wouldn't be able to keep up with the temperatures that we're going to be having. I mean, it's actually, they're talking about 30s. My app doesn't even show that, but they're talking about 30s down at night here in South Florida, which happens very infrequently. So there's all the redfoots, all the tortoises, a lot of the turtles from the front pond are here. Just today, we're going to keep those guys in there. I figure 1 week of those animals in the bins is not going to be a big deal. I had to actually go pull Big Frida and Diego from the rec pond, and I set them up in here. And because it's going to get so insanely cold, I actually have them in the Fly River in here with well water running through it. Just for the cold nights, I'm actually going to set them back up in these tubs. But when it gets super cold at night, they're all going to go live into this tub because we've got one of our stock tub heaters in here, which actually is doing a great job of keeping the water comfortable. And then, of course, we're running the well water through it, which is 72 degrees. The other guys I'm worried about, to be perfectly honest, are the animals over in Cayman Creek. I've been trying to get, as you saw, I got the Amazon river turtles out, which are really sensitive to cold weather. Today we're going to let out our good old iguanas here, Lola and the rhinos, because they're easy and they go back in on their own. However, we got all the Burmese stars out. Okay, we got them in here. See, what I'd like to do is build a nice ramp for these guys so they could learn to go in on their own. And it might just involve a lot of dirt, but for now, I think what I'll do is I'll reach in and just grab them out, let them walk around outside. So let's do that right now. This is super important to do. I want these animals healthy. These, of course, are Tom's animals. Tom Crutchfield, and so there's a little bit more of in some ways a little bit more concern because they're someone else's, and I want to make sure I do the right thing for them. There's a big old beautiful girl there. So we got 5 of them, and it's so nice that I'm able to just kind of reach in to this enclosure and pull out these little Burmese stars without fear of having my hands bit because our rhino iguanas are so darn tame. And here's the fifth one. Oh, they're so beautiful, those tortoises, aren't they? The Burmese star tortoise, such an awesome tortoise. All right, let's keep going. We got to keep things rolling along here. This time of year is just super stressful. In fact, when I think about it, Florida can be super stressful because in the winter you have these cold snaps, and then in the summer you've got hurricanes. So it is not a place that is perfectly idyllic for reptiles. But as far as the continental United States, it's actually the best you're going to get. Unless, of course, you moved to an overseas territory, like the Philippines or something, or Puerto Rico. Uh-oh, look at this. This tortoise has been out already. How did I miss you? Oh my gosh, that's not good. That means that tortoise was out all night long. Crud. It was about 50s last night. Let's get this one in the sun. It looks fine. Let's put it right in the sun so that it can warm up. All right, that stinks. There's always one. There's just so much happening here, friends. Now let's get over here. Let me show you. We've got so much to do in the next couple of weeks. I'm actually getting a little bit overwhelmed because I've got to get this situation under control. Waiting on one of our parts from Kubota so I can get the grapple to pick up all this stuff. And we're going to be building the ponds. There's going to be a lot of people here at the camp in the next couple of weeks. Very excited though. And this did good. These guys are in here, our 3 sulcatas. These females, come on out there. Yeah, these females just haven't quite figured out they can go in and out of here. They like to go in that corner. So I have to load them up in here still, put them in the house, and then they stay in there where it's warm. But yeah, this whole area is going to be a wetland and pond here soon, so pretty crazy. So I often think, you know, it's kind of an interesting thing, reptiles and the cold. Obviously there are reptiles that live in the northern hemisphere that are more tolerant to cold. For example, you know, of course you've got the one air-breathing vertebrate that can hold its breath longer than any other air-breathing vertebrate, and that of course is the painted turtle of the northern part of North America and the United States and southern Canada into, oh, they're found into Nova Scotia, I believe. And they can actually survive really, really cold temperatures. Them, along with the common snapping turtle, are also good at surviving cold temperatures, right? But what about animals from the tropics? What about, hey, what's up? Come on out, kid. There's Socrates. What about animals from the tropics? Like, let's say if you're an animal that lives in Mexico or somewhere within the tropical zone, can you take colder temperatures? And the answer is sometimes yes. There are actually quite interesting variations there. Because as you keep some of these animals, you find that some are more cold tolerant than others. For example, we have the black mountain tortoise over on the other side of the camp, the fair eye that I'm keeping for Tom. Those animals, even though they're from Burma, can actually take way, way lower temperatures. And that's because you can find those animals up in elevation where it gets colder, even in the tropics. So they can take temps down into the 40s for a short period of time. Not really worried about them so much as I am, say, the Galapagos tortoises here and the Aldabra. Who's coming out now? Is it going to be an Aldabra? No, it looks like that's a Darwin. Yes, that's a Darwin poking out right there. So yeah, these guys, a little bit more tricky. I have to make sure that they stay warm. However, here's another caveat. Larger tortoises, okay? For example, Darwin, when she gets her body warmed up, it takes longer for her to shed the heat. So if she stayed out one night in, say, 40-degree weather, her core temperature is still going to be warm enough if she did some behavioral things to keep herself warm. Like, for example, burrow into a pallet or into a bed of leaves. That's going to help insulate her. Oh, and look who's rushing right out. There he is. He's got some hay in his mouth here. Nostradamus. So like I said, today is going to be about 80 degrees, and hey, I just have a buddy rolling up. Check this out. Oh, this is fun. You're about to meet somebody who I both love and hate in equal measures. And I say that jokingly because this dude pushes the Z-boys harder than anyone. You're on camera, bud. I hope you don't mind. I was telling them how I, in equal parts, love and hate you. Because, look at this guy. He just rode probably, I think...
46 minutes.
46 minutes.
I don't know how many miles yet.
Yeah, that's probably about, no, that's not 20. That's about 15 miles or so anyway. Yeah, so you can see his grandson is going to be a bike rider also. That's my buddy Tim. So he always pushes us on our bikes, and yesterday we did, I did close to 100. He did over 100 miles, and it was brutal because I didn't make it to the very end. I made it close to the end, but
You made it to the end.
All right, I made it to
It's
you.
the final sprint. It's okay.
Oh, it's okay, but he beats me up on our boyfriend texts. Anyway, so what we're doing, guys, is I'm just letting some animals out because we got this schizophrenic weather, man. It's like going to be 80 degrees today, and then it's going to be like in the 40s at night coming up later in the week, which for these reptiles is a big pain in the butt. What's up, buddy? Do you like animals? Yeah, well, come on over, man. This little guy's all right. So these are the sulcata tortoises, and guys, you'll notice again, it's all about behavior, right? You see what they're doing? They wake up and they get right out into the sun to warm their bodies up. So I have to tell you, the sulcata tortoises are really intelligent in that we have this nice shed built for them. They walk in and out without any drama from me. There's 7 of them in here. And so for me, that's like amazing when an animal is just doing behaviorally what it needs to do to keep its body in good shape. We're also in the middle of their egg laying season. And I also noticed something interesting about our redfoot tortoises, and that is the redfoot tortoises, whenever I have them locked up during a cold snap and then let them back out again, they immediately start dropping eggs. So it's just a peculiar thing that I've noticed over the years of dealing with them. We've got some nests going on over here. So that's good stuff as well. I'm gonna let these guys do their thing. I'm gonna finish up this video. You guys are good. You just walk around, enjoy yourselves. I'll be there shortly. But anyway, yeah, I just had to let these animals out because I do feel guilty about keeping them cooped up. And then, like I said, it's just super stressful. The pond turtles, however, here's another interesting thing when dealing with cold. We've got some Orlidia. They're a large river turtle from Southeast Asia. Those turtles are bulletproof. They've been living for many, many years in the moats in Zoo Miami before they got retired up here. There's no life support systems for them, meaning there's no filtration, things like that. They're just in the moats. And here it's a similar thing. They're just in this big pond, and I never have any issues with them because their behavior is of such that they go to the bottom where the temperatures never get colder than a certain amount because it just doesn't stay cold enough to really destroy the thermoclines on a large body of water. So when they're in that mud, they're kept just comfortable enough. And of course, another group of animals that I do not worry about at all are these two, because they are adapted to this type of weather for millions of years. And that, of course, is our alligators. Snaggletooth just went under. And then over here is Dale. But today I'm just getting a good overview of everything that needs to be done, getting ready for later in the week, and I'm not going to do much with them. They're just going to be completely fine in their habitat because it is a true slice of Florida. So these animals are from Florida. It always makes things easier. So yeah, it's so crazy that my heart procedure got moved because right now I would be recuperating. I wouldn't be able to lift anything and move animals in and out, and I think it's kind of a blessing in disguise. I was really disappointed when they canceled it on me or rescheduled it because I just want to get this over with. It's been weighing on my mind, and I just want to get it done. But then after I realized, like, oh man, it's gonna be cold, I'm gonna need to be able to lift. Well, there you go. So in just over a week's time is when I'm actually going to be dealing with this. And so luckily for me, I'm still able to lift everything because later on in the week, it's going to be nuts. Okay, so we've got the box, and let's see. What's really cool though is the fact that Bill and Lulu, look at this, they both share the area and they're doing just great. They both share the area. There's Bill. Really love Bill. Such an awesome animal. And I'll probably give these guys a good feed today since it's going to be nice and warm for the next 3 days. High enough temperatures that they'll be able to digest, which is important. So yeah, we're gonna do that. Get them fed. This way they'll be satiated for when they're locked up most of the time. I will lock them in that box. So that is what's going to happen. I want to let out, Slinky is going to be able to come out on his own, but let's let the other croc monitors out because I did have them dialed in. And I'll show you something else that I'm doing for Inky here shortly. But let's go in, get these guys out. Oh man. I'm really excited because I also did some other irrigation fixes. So we've got water that's being able to be pumped in. What was happening, come on out guys, there's a Diamond and Chase is in there as well. What was happening is I didn't have enough pressure from the irrigation pump that's way on the other side of the house to reach all the way over here. It was like just a slow dribble. So these waters weren't getting filled up properly. So I remedied that. And then while I was at it, I also did a few modifications to Cayman Creek. Cayman Creek is now going to be fed by 2 well pumps, and that'll keep it warmer than if just one was feeding it. So I'm excited about that. The other thing I'm going to do is, you see there's a plug here, I'm getting an adapter. We're going to go from 1 to 2, and simply what I've been noticing with Inky is Inky likes to hide under our Universal Rocks water bowl. You see this hole? So I took another Fluker heat mat and I put one over there. And she now, if she goes under there, she'll have a heat mat there. And here's the great thing. This is all foam. And the water is going to provide extra insulation. Let's see, is she in here? Yeah, she's right here. Well, and see what's cool is there's the heat pad. And when she gets too hot, she can move over and cool down and then walk back and forth to either thermal gradient she wants. So that's key, no matter how you keep your reptiles, okay? Very, very important to give them the opportunity to cool down. In fact, I've said it many times before on the channel, it's quicker to kill reptiles with hot temperatures than cold temperatures. So that's incredibly important to remember. You want to keep them just comfortable. I don't want to keep like Slinky or any of the monitors so hot that they look for relief by walking out of their heated shelter and then into the cold. And once they get in the cold, they slow down so much they can't get back in to the heat. So it's a delicate balance. Again, look at this. We've got the 2 Cayman. We've shut down the stream, okay? So the stream's actually not moving and the water's just remaining still, but we have well water pumping through here during the night, which of course is when things are at its coldest. So that's why you'll see the stagnation, maybe a little film on top of the water, but we are getting fresh water in here, so the fish are gonna be okay with fresh, clean water. Plus, we're dealing with such a large volume of water that it takes a long time for that water to go bad, if you will. So the larger volume of water, the easier it is to keep the conditions of the water stable, if that makes any sense. I think it does. So yeah, there you go. We got that down. Again, you're seeing me, it's early in the morning here after a cool night. It was probably low 50s. So what's going on is the fact that you know, we're just really trying to keep these animals comfortable. About the only other thing I think I can do to make their lives better would be to build a giant dome over my home and then just live in the dome. But obviously that's not cost effective for a guy like me. All right, there's Lucifer, looking good. We pulled out all of the Central American wood turtles because they're not waterborne. Well, they're not in the water all the time. There's Marge. Hey, Marge. And she's totally fine. She's a Florida snapper, so she can handle these temperatures. I'm not even worried about her. Again, we were talking about tropical animals that can tolerate cooler temps. Turns out the dwarfin trigonotus, the smooth-front caiman, can tolerate cooler temps. Why is that? They live in Brazil and Bolivia and places where it's always hot. However, they live in the forests, and the forests sometimes are fed by streams that come down from the high altitudes. The water is colder. These animals have a better tolerance to cooler temperatures, but that's for a short period of time. And luckily, that's kind of what we have. Now, what we're about to get here in South Florida is an extended amount of cold weather. The last time we had that was in 2010, where 2 weeks it was cold and rainy. That's like a death knell for certain tortoise and reptile species. So we're gearing up here, guys. We're gearing up here for a very stressful time, one in which I will be, she doesn't look stressed though, one in which I'll be up in the middle of the night, walking around, checking animals with a infrared temp gun, making sure that the power stays on, because sometimes you can blow a fuse, because we're running a lot of electricity. My electric bill is insane. It's over $1,000 every single month, and that's the cost of keeping these animals healthy and alive, and I take that on. But yeah, it's important, man. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here at the camp. But again, like I said, I think the delay was a blessing in disguise, because now I get to be able to run around and check everything, and then hopefully that cold snap will be over by the time I get my procedure, and then I can rest, and hopefully the temps will be a little bit more true to form for what Florida is known for. There you have it, guys. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. We're gonna go make sure this little guy has a good time. I think he likes Kubota tractors. We're gonna put him on one. But that's it, man. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys do to take care of your animals? Do you guys live somewhere where you keep your animals out? Are you from Florida? What techniques are you guys using in order to keep your animals safe and healthy during these trying times, if you will? Let me know. All right, guys, and don't forget to go to patreon.com/Kamp Kenan for more exclusive content and to help the channel. Thank you, guys. See you soon.